Good morning. Welcome to Craft Time at the Lisbon Hepburn Library. My name is Michelle McCleggett, and I am the director of the library here in Lisbon. And today, our summer reading craft is all about Australia. So, we are doing Aboriginal dot painting of Australian animals. So, if you've picked up your craft kit, we have several different kits available. Each kit will allow you to paint 2 of the 4 animals that I'm going to show you. So you may be painting a gecko, a kangaroo, a duck-billed platypus, or a koala bear. Let me show you what is in each kit. So regardless of which kit or which animals you have in your kit, you're going to have the first sheet here, which shows you a picture of each of the animals, of the samples that I've already done, so that you can see what they look like in their completed state. And there are also some really basic instructions. This is not a very complicated craft. And then you will have a template as your second page. It's going to have 2 of the animals on it. So you will have 2 things to cut out. You will also, in your kit, have 2 pieces of what's called chipboard. So it's like a really thick kind of cereal box kind of cardboard. So you have 2 pieces, 1 for each animal. You will have 4 Q-tips, or I should say cotton swabs. So that's what you're going to be using to paint your dots. And you're going to have 4 colors of paint. All of the kits will have a little tub of white and a little tub of black. And then each kit will have 2 other colors. This particular one has pink and blue. You may have greens, purples, yellows, oranges, and they're all assorted. So everybody's going to have different colors to choose from. What you will need to provide from home are some scissors so that you can cut out the template, and a pencil or something else like that that you can use to trace it onto your chipboard. So I've got a kit over here that's ready to go, or supplies, I should say. So here's where I cut out my animals already. There's the koala, and there is the kangaroo. So I've already cut these out. And what I've also done is I have already traced, and I hope you can see this, I have traced the koala bear onto this piece of chipboard, and I just put it right in the middle. It wasn't particularly complicated to decide where I was going to do that. I used my pencil and I traced around it. So I did that. And then the other thing that I did when I was finished tracing is I just kind of pulled it off to the side, and I said, okay, where are the pieces or the parts that I was not able to trace? So I drew in like the bottom of his head and his arm, and I drew his leg and his foot. I just kind of like sketched those in just to give me an idea. Some of them are a little more complicated than others. That's why I've chosen the koala, because there was more to it than there were to some of the other ones. It was not as difficult, for example, on the platypus, to see where some of the other details might go. So let me put my pencil and my scissors aside. Let me put my template aside, and let me get out my paints. Now, you can do whatever you want. This is really a very, very free-form sort of craft, and you can choose whatever colors and whatever organization makes the most sense to you. But what I'm going to do is show you how I did it, and again, you can be flexible. So I used the black paint to do the outline of the animal. Okay, so we just packaged up paints for all of our participants, getting kits a couple of days ago. Honestly, my paints have been sitting out probably a little longer than that. But I'm going to start, and I'm just going to make little tiny dots. And if you notice, I am not redipping my Q-tip at all. I did not put a whole lot of paint on my Q-tip. And if you look here, you'll see that my dot sizes, they do vary. The ones that I started out with are darker, they're a little bit thicker, and the other ones are a little bit fainter. So as you start to get to a point where it's a little fainter, you just want to add a little more paint and keep going. And the harder you press, the bigger your dots. And the more you press and flatten out that end of your Q-tip, the bigger the dots. So we've given you 4 Q-tips. That's one for each color. You may find that you need to flip it over at one point in time in order to keep getting uniform size dots. That is up to you. And you may also find that you want more Q-tips, in which case you may have some at home that you can just grab from your bathroom, as long as an adult says that it's okay. So I'm just going to go quickly along here so that you don't have to watch me paint for an entire hour. But as you can see, it does go fairly quickly, and I am just doing that outline and the details that I painted or drew with my pencil in the middle. So we'll give him a little bit around his foot. There we go. And then we'll just fill in some of this stuff that's right in the middle. So we've got an ear, and then the tree, and the rest of his ear. Get a little more paint. But you can use something else too. If you don't want to use a Q-tip, you could use the end of an eraser. Now that may be a little thicker in diameter, wider than what you really want, but that is your choice. I am not going to do his eyes with the black paint, and I will show you why. Now I did them on my sample, so it was something that I had decided afterwards that maybe I wanted to do. But let's see how this goes. All right, we are almost done with the black. We'll just come right down through there. Okay, so that's what we've done. We need another little dot right around his nose. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is decide where we want to put other colors. So I am just going to put my Q-tip down right there and grab another one. And I'm going to go to my white paint next. And the reason I'm going to do a little bit of white is because I want the koala bear's eyes to be white. So I'm going to do a fairly big dot there. Just like most animals have some white portions in their eyes. So we'll do that, okay? Then let's put that one down. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go back to my black here. And a koala bear's nose is black anyhow. So I'm going to add some random black dots in here for his nose. And you'll see that with the platypus, for example, I did his entire nose in black as well as his paws. Okay, and then his eyes I had done in black and put little white dots in the middle, doing kind of the opposite here. Now I'm going to choose another color. You can choose whatever color you want, but I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to do pink for his body. And like I said, my paint's been sitting for a couple of weeks, so let me give that a good stir. So I'm going to come along and you pick a spot and you just keep going around. So I've started at his ear. I'm going to make one row around and I'm just going to stay right inside of that black line for as far around as I can go without touching anything else. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go around his ear. Now where it gets to be too tight, I'm not going to put any dots. I'm going to resume and start again up here. And I'm going to keep going all the way around back to where I started. Get a little more paint. And now I'm going to come around. I can't do another row here. It's too tight. So I'm going to come around on this side of his ear and do some dots and then continue around right where I was before. I'm going to run into his nose, so I can't do anything there. But I'm going to come back on the other side of his nose, come around in front of his ear, and now I've pretty much done a circle. Okay, it's not exactly a circle. It's not mathematically a circle, we'll put it that way. Go back to where I started, and I'm going to come right around again. Oops, run into his nose, skip over his nose, and keep making a circle all the way around his face. Get a little more paint. I'm going to start in the same spot again. Don't want to run into his eye. So I'm actually going to go backwards around the circle this way till I get to his other eye. And then I'm going to fill it in with 3 more dots right in the middle. Now you'll notice I did not do the inside of his ear because I'm going to go back and put blue there, I think. But I'm going to come down and now I'm going to do his arm. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. Dot, 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 all the way around the inside of his arm and all the way around the other side of his arm. And you can see where my Q-tip really does need to be flipped over because I've smashed it down enough times that my dots are not really circles anymore. And again, I'm going to get to a point where I really can't add anymore. So I'm just going to skip right over that and go back and fill it in. All right, we're going to go quickly down here and I'm going to do the same thing around his knee and around his belly. And I'm speeding up so that you don't have to watch me do all these details. Now I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to see there's a little bit of leg over here. So I'm going to fill that one in with the same color pink. Okay, you can use one maybe on each of those fingers that's wrapping around there. Okay, and then the other thing that I missed over here, and that was my fault entirely, was his hand is coming around the edge of the tree. So that was supposed to be black. And then right in here, I can add probably just 1 dot for that other piece of hand that he has. So I'm going to put my pink down. And yes, I got paint on my hands, which is probably what you're going to do as well. I'm going to get a clean, fresh Q-tip, and I'm going to go do my blue. I'm going to give it a little bit of a stir since it's been sitting for a bit. And I'm going to come back, and I'm going to accent with some blue. So I'm going to make the tree trunk blue, and I'm going to go again just inside the black that I've already done and do my dots for as far as I can go before I run out of space. And then I'm going to come back around and do another row. And so these are coming out sort of more in a rectangle compared to his face, which was more of a circle. Okay. Then I'm going to come down to this other piece of branch and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just go around as far as I can go and come back up the other side and come back down. Careful there, another little row. Okay, now I'm also going to decide that I think what I want for his ears is probably to do some black again. So you can just keep going and switching back and forth between colors as you decide. So I think I'm going to put a couple dots in the middle of his ear that are black, and the same thing with the bottom of his feet because they're usually not the same color as the rest of the fur. Now my white that I did in my eyes, I put that in earlier because I wanted to come back and just give him like a little black dot. There we go. So his eyes look like they've been filled in. Now, what I'm going to do, and you get to choose how you take your colors. I am going to go back and grab white. And now I'm going to go all the way around and I'm going to do my entire background in white. So you're going to pick a place to start. And a couple of these dots were a little too faint. And you're going to just stay tight to your outline that you've already done. And go all the way around. Now, like I said, you can do whatever you want. If you want to do some leaves in a tree, then you can do those. If you want to add a sun in the background, you can do that. If you want to continue your branch way down to the bottom, you can do that. You have so much flexibility in what you do here, because this is all about being creative. So I've gone around and I've done one entire outline. If I had taken a little more time at it, I probably would have made sure that I was dipping into my paint a little more often. And then you're going to come back around again. Now, I'm going to choose to do all white for my background, like I did on my samples. And that is entirely my choice. You do not have to do that. You can do alternating rows of color. You can do whatever you want. But what you really want to do is stick close to the outline and not drag your paint like I just did and make a big smudge. But you'll see as you keep going around that you will get to points where you can no longer make any dots. So for example, I'm getting right up to the edge here. I can do a row of dots around the edge, but on my next pass by, I'm not going to be able to do that same thing. So you're going to start seeing that some areas are going to get closed off and separated from the others. So, you know, now I may want to start here and go all the way around, and soon I'm going to be at a point where I can't put any more dots over here and I've just got the top and the bottom. Now I am going to stop, and I'm going to stop simply because there's no reason for you to watch me continue to put another 200 dots on a piece of cardboard. But that is the idea of what you're going to do with your dot painting. You are going to end up with paint on your hands, just as I have. But let me show you again what the originals looked like so you can get a feel for that. So here, again, I put purple in the middle. I used black for the platypus's nose and his paws. And then I did some green around it to make like grass. And then I did the white around it. Here with our kangaroo, I did some little black and white for the eyes. I did the same thing that I did with the koala bear, which was to outline all of the different arms and legs and ears and things. And then I put a purple background around it. And then of course I did the white. And here with our gecko, our salamander shape, I made sure that I did a couple of dots through to indicate like different colors in his skin tone. And then I did like a purple background followed by the white. And here with this koala, you can see I've done something different than I did today, which is why you can do so many different things and just choosing how you use the colors of paint that you've been given. I did the same black outline. I personally think I did a better job on the eyes today than I did on my sample before. But here I did part of the branch in white, and then I did a big red background around it. Whereas here today, I've decided to do the whole branch in blue and then do an entire background of white. So again, many, many different choices in how you do these paintings, and every one of them is going to come out a little bit different. Some of these have bigger dots, just a different brand of cotton swab that I used. They were a little more smushy than the one I was using today, and you can see where I made a couple little mistakes with dragging my cotton swab because I was in a little bit of a hurry. This will take you some time. You may have to walk away and let some of it dry. And I did find that it was also easy if I just kind of spun it around as I was working. So as I was doing like these white dots, instead of reaching over top of some of the paint that was wet, I just kind of spun it around on the table. So that is it for our dot painting. I look forward to seeing what kind of artwork you are able to create. So if you get an opportunity to have an adult take a photo and send me a photo, I would love to see the kind of projects that you've put together with our Australian animals. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me for another craft time with our summer reading program. Once again, my name is Michelle McLagan, and I am the director of the library here in Lisbon. Love to see you at the library. We're open Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 3 to 8, and Wednesdays and Fridays from 9 to 5. And if I don't see you in person, I'll see you next week for another craft time. Take care. Bye-bye.